I'm going to start the recording. Okay? All right, are you ready? Are you done talking about who fucks who in Star Wars? Hey everyone, it's me, Veda Scott. I'm back with a live episode of Drawing Power. Wow. And by live, I mean I'm live streaming it and then I'm going to post the video. But we got people in the chat to ask questions, and my guest here today...
When you say live, you mean live streaming, not in front of a studio audience, which would be great.
Well, so sometimes when I do them at shows, there's kind of an audience because people are sort of watching. But we got a chat, which is sort of like a studio audience. And I got you.
What if before the next Fightertainment, like before the stream, we recorded a live Drawing Power?
Yeah, we could do that, but we can't talk about it right now because you're talking about things that are not part of my show.
Okay, sorry.
So that's something we can talk about when this is over.
Sorry. My apologies.
Okay. We gotta add the applause. Yay.
Are you gonna do that in post? You're giving yourself extra work right now.
Okay. So again, I'm really bothered by how red my eye was when I was putting on mascara. I sneezed and I poked my eye.
These tangents, by the way, are a complete normal part of Drawing Power, regardless of the
sometimes
casual
I have
atmosphere.
to edit them out. Okay, so today I have my guest at this time is Speedball Mike Bailey, who, as we established, was my break glass in case of emergency guest. I needed an interview for this week, but I didn't want to just film it. I wanted to have people in the chat because I don't know what to talk to you about. I literally spend 24 hours a day with you.
We're live on my Twitch, by the way, twitch.tv/SpeedballBailey. I'm saying this for the YouTube audience, the eventual YouTube audience. Hashtag Veda Tangents. It's already, it's a growing, it's a movement.
It's a movement. All right.
Okay, so we got
find yourself, no, stop. This is my show, and you're just taking over. Hold on. Just because you watch every episode and you know how I do it doesn't mean that... Here, take this pad of paper.
So do you have a guest and your drawing board? Or do you switch it around?
No, I just give people whatever. Okay. All right.
A lot of contention. Okay.
So I've got to give you a drawing prompt. So here's the deal. Drawing Power. I give a prompt.
Oh. I didn't know how it works.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience. Can you not? Okay. I give a prompt. We both try
We're so married.
I give a prompt. We both try to draw it while I talk and ask questions. And some of the questions are going to have to come from y'all because I don't know what to ask you. I already know everything.
You know everything.
All right.
I wonder if someone's going to ask questions. This should be the goal. Find something that Veda doesn't know.
No, that's just the newlywed game. That's not what we're playing right now. This is Drawing Power, and that's not the premise of this show.
Yeah, but what if we did play the newlywed game?
Okay, but that's a different show.
You're going to break your back.
This is just a different show. Okay, how are we doing? Not great. Thank you, Amarin. All right, so here's the crayons. The prompt is, we're going to switch it up because we're in too close quarters.
I'm so scared.
We're going to be able to see each other too much. We're going to draw each other. You draw me and I draw you.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That is terrifying.
All right.
And you said we weren't playing the newlywed game, but I feel like this is going to have similar consequences.
Okay, so I draw you, you draw me. We're gonna talk for like 15 minutes. Does anyone have questions that I should ask Mike Bailey that you want to know? And it's Drawing Power, so you have to give answers and you have to be honest.
Oh, boy.
That's another rule. The rule is one sheet of paper only, and you can't lie.
Oh, boy. I am terrible at drawing. Very, very bad. I will do my best.
Okay, okay. So this is, someone says the Drawing Power needs an episode with a guest host and I should be the guest. Hold on, the interviews are coming really fast. Okay, San Bruno Jess asks, Speedball, are you going to include frogs in your particular picture? And it doesn't just have to be questions about the drawing. It can be questions about career, life, everything.
Am I going to include frogs in the drawing?
In the drawing that you're making right now.
Well, no, because it's you, and I wouldn't know how. I wouldn't know how to include frogs.
Okay, hold on. Well, you can just draw frogs. I don't know. Whatever you want. Okay, I'm trying not to look at your thing though.
So I could try to draw you as a frog, but I feel like that doubles the difficulty level.
It does. Okay, this is a good question. This is actually a really good question. So Reed Cooper asks, favorite match of each other's as why, and we'll come back to that. But this is a good one. I don't want to miss it. Super Slam V says, people in interviews always say Speedy has a unique mind for wrestling. What does that mean? What do you think gives you a unique wrestling perspective?
Gives me a unique wrestling perspective. I think
because people do say that you have a unique wrestling perspective.
So I think a big part of it is the background as well as experience. Like, I didn't start wrestling in the same way that most people do over in America, especially.
All right, talk to us about that.
Where I started in Quebec, where wrestling was... Oh, no, my drawing's already very bad. The first thing I drew is already extremely uneven, where it should be even. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but yeah, I will do my best.
So you were talking about how wrestling was a little bit different for you when you got started in Quebec.
Yeah, there was many years I did wrestling with no goal, like no specific aim, right? Literally in what I will condescendingly refer to as wrestling in like its purest form. Just me trying to have fun and entertain an audience with no desire beyond that. And wrestling in the first many years I did it, and when I say many, I mean like 9 years old.
You started relatively young.
Well, so I started wrestling at 7 years old. And that is my... it took me until I was like 15, 14 before I actually like joined a school and did it in a ring kind of properly.
But you were like backyarding, basically.
Backyarding, but it was like... I don't know. It's valid experience, and I don't care what anyone says. It absolutely was...
So you and your brother, right? You and your brother.
It was me and my brother.
Kind of backyarding. But then even when you started wrestling, it was still basically backyarding. Even though you were in a ring and stuff because...
Yeah, there was no, like, guidance. I feel weird about people who start wrestling in this day and age. And, like, other people who start as young as I am. And it's like, you have a path. You have models. You have people that you follow and try to emulate that have... from where you started, gone on to be very successful pro wrestlers. And I had none of that.
Right.
I had Kevin Steen and El Generico, with whom that kind of started happening. But, like, it was kind of happening at the same time as my career was going.
So what did you, if I had asked you then, we'll talk a little bit more about your brother, because people are asking about your brother. If I had asked you, let's say when you were, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years into your, like, official wrestling career, like, what do you think is going to happen, or what's your goal? What would you have said?
I truly don't know. It depends how old I am. You know, if you asked me, when I was 9 years old, I would have told you, oh, I'm going to become WWE champion. But if you asked me much later...
When you knew more about the business.
When I knew more about the business, I would have said, I don't know. I'll probably do some indie wrestling and I'll see what happens. Like, honestly.
Right.
My goal was like CCW at the time.
And you did that.
I did that. I absolutely did that. I did that a long time ago. But
that's a good perspective on like what seemed accessible to actually even happen. So
that's what I was watching.
And we've mentioned your brother a bunch of times. Dave wants to know more about your brother.
Yeah, my brother wrestled for like 10 years and then he stopped. He stopped at the same time that it would have been... This is such a bad drawing. I'm so sorry.
Can't believe that I married this creature that right. I'm not even looking at yours. I'm too focused on the horrors that are unfolding on my page. I can't draw people.
This is the worst people ever.
I'm looking right at you and I can't even make it happen. All right, hold on. So your brother, you wrestled with your brother.
Yes.
He still follows pro wrestling, and he still can wrestle.
He does.
Like, at training, he'll just, like, show up and do stuff sometimes.
Near the end of the pandemic, when I was still in Canada and couldn't travel but could wrestle, he would get in the ring, and he would mix it up, and we had matches, and, like, I wish I still had access, maybe I still do, to, like... I remember at a mock show that we did at the IWS school.
Over the pandemic?
Yeah. Me, my brother versus Ryan Donovan. And it was like, It was a three.
I remember that you guys did so much shit.
It was a 20-minute three-way match, and it was so long.
You did so much shit.
We did so much shit. We did dives. My brother did a dive because why not? But this is how we wrestled when we started.
You just did shit.
We just did shit.
No, that's not what I want.
I just drew something wrong, but I'm just gonna stick with it.
Okay, hold on. We got other questions here. So some of these are not questions about you; they're about like kind of for you, but that's okay. Do you think there's an age of too young or too old to get into a wrestling ring?
No, I don't think so. I think everyone can and should be able to do professional wrestling. I don't think there's an age, I don't think, like people say, you hear it a lot, right? Pro wrestling isn't for everyone. And I think that's false. I think pro wrestling is for everyone that wants to do it, and I don't.
And isn't a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But you mean like in terms of like physical ability and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think it's fair to expect any level of success, but I think anyone who wants to get in a ring and try the act of putting on a performance, putting on a staged fight versus another person, should be allowed to do so.
And why not?
And I will die on that hill. And that is in fact how I train people, and always have. When I do seminars, it happens so often that someone is like, hey, I know you want us to do like comebacks or something, but I've never been in a ring before. And I'm like, fuck it, hop on, see what you can do. And then I'll just give them like a simple comeback, because oftentimes what I'm doing is like
and what's a comeback? You got to explain that for my YouTube viewers.
Yeah, a comeback is a part of a wrestling match. Basically, usually at one point it'll slow down, and someone who is, in American terms, the bad guy, will get in control for a certain amount of time, and that's called the heat. It's usually when, you try to get the audience to cheer for the good guy.
But pretty much anyone can be walked through these steps, is what you're saying.
I think so. I think it's fairly easy, and I've done it a bunch of times. And again, that's how I started. We weren't trained. We didn't have like the magic key to doing professional wrestling. We kind of just up and did it because we thought we could.
And also, like, I mean, and I've seen time and time again, like, if you don't, like, there's some people who have, like, a lot of natural athletic ability and, like, excel in pro wrestling regardless. But there's also plenty of people who do not have natural athletic ability, but, like, really want to try, and they work really hard, and they're always fine.
I don't. So the problem with the crayons is that you cannot erase. I just did one.
Hello, Queen of the Ring.
I did one line wrong, and now I'm going to have to commit, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is not how I see you. This is like, okay, I have terrible handwriting and always have, and I was...
You really do. It's a little bit embarrassing. In
elementary school, I was like put into like special classes to try and fix my handwriting. And like I imagine things that my hand will do and lines that my hand will draw, and it just doesn't look that way.
That's the same for me. That's why I started doing this show, because I cannot draw. This crayon is called Tumbleweed. This one's called Very Light Rose.
Very Light Rose.
It's no good. All right. Dobby just mentions that we have a father and son that started training together at the MCW school. That's awesome. Axel is asking a lot of questions about tickling. If you want to know more about tickling, you could subscribe to my OnlyFans, www.vedascott.com. I'll answer your tickle questions there. But for free on YouTube, no way. So Jay Burnett asked an actual wrestling related question though. What was the wildest spot someone has done in a match with your feet, with your bare feet, having your feet like?
Well, the wildest one that was ever.
I want to talk about the wildest one that was ever pitched.
The wildest one that was ever pitched was, how about I...
We're not going to say who this was.
No, I'm not going to say who this was.
But it's a person who's currently on television.
Like, you can kind of imagine who would pitch this. Like, the kind of person. But I want to have a blood packet, and I want to rip out
This was pitched to you, planning a match, within an hour of needing to have that particular match. So here's the pitch.
Let's have a blood packet, and I'm going to take a pair of pliers and rip out your toenail, and we're going to use the blood packet to make it look like I took your toenail off. And to which I ask, cool, do you have a blood packet? And they said no. And then I said, do you have pliers? They said no.
Like a prosthetic toenail to attach? So it was not Mox at Revolver, because Mox would have just pitched that, why don't you rip off my own toenail?
Yeah, why don't we fucking rip off our own
toenail? And then we both rip off our own toenail.
Why don't we fucking rip off our toes for real? I don't give a fuck if we rip off our toes.
I love that match you had with Mox at Revolver. But no,
it's got a lot of views on YouTube.
It was not Mox. And we're not going to say who it was, but let's assure you that the spot did not happen, because it is impossible.
What if you just ripped off my fucking toe?
All right. Please keep doing Mox impressions. Hold on. Okay. Will I say who it was on OnlyFans? Maybe. Tip me enough and you'll find out who it was. Okay. Okay, Wally has an actual topical question.
Ooh.
Are you still under contract on July 20th? Would love to see you at Slammiversary.
I am, yes.
So you did an interview. Let's expand on that a little bit. You did an interview the interview just came out today with Sports Illustrated, Justin Marasso, talking about how it is, in fact, your contract year.
It is my contract year, which for those who don't know what that means, it means my contract is up this year at some point. I'm not going to say when, but, I mean, you can kind of do the math.
You can do the math.
It's pretty easy math if you look at the...
But it means that potentially you might be looking at other options. But also, it also means, and because people immediately, you say that and they're like, okay, I guess you're going to X, X, and X. But that's not true at all. No. It's just a matter of, like, you are will be in the process of renegotiating.
Yes. Personally, I'd love to stay with TNA.
And you said that in the interview. You kind of talked about
Things have been great. Yeah. Things are going great.
Why am I calling with a Sharpie? I always do that, and then, like, the fumes are overwhelming. So you said that in the interview, like, there's lots of stuff that you still want to do I'm covering my face, in TNA, and when I said I'm covering my face, the picture moved, and then I just, like, made a big, this is not.
Oh, mine is worse, I guarantee it.
I'm glad I didn't try to draw your body. Well, okay, what else we got here? Veda, are you doing commentary on Resurgence? Yes, I will tell you that I am, although it's not an interview of me, but I can say that I am. Okay. Brett from GCW mentioned you had a heavy hand in the clusterfuck. It was a surreal fever dream and one of my fondest wrestling memories. Any thoughts or takeaways from your experience putting such an ambitious match together? That is Joyful Violence talking about this year's clusterfuck at GCW at the Collective. The clusterfuck being it was like a 2-hour long match. Well, I don't remember what exactly clocked in at. An hour and like almost 2 hours. 80-something people, I think, were in it. Basically like a sequential elimination match, but it's a lot of different people and a lot of different like mindsets and a lot of different characters. And then Brett from GCW basically said that like you and a couple other people put the match together.
So I think that I am a great high flyer. I am a great striker. I know that I've put a lot of thought and care into making sure that everything I do in the ring looks solid, like movement-wise. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I am by far the best at in professional wrestling is structure. Understanding how to break down a match and, like, into separate pieces and understanding the goal between the separate pieces and what they're used for and how to replicate it. And it's something that I end up doing a lot. Like, helping out people that don't have as much of a grasp. When I see people like trying to put complicated match together, like scrambles and stuff that have a bunch of different stories and characters, I am always happy to help out and kind of give structural notes. Well, and I that's a common thing in GCW.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I've helped, like personally, a lot that will ask me at every match, hey, can you, again, the GCW background is nothing but wrestling nerds just trying to help each other figure out matches.
Let me say this. My absolute fucking favorite thing in the world is, it's usually at GCW, it can be other places, but it's like watching people like Alec Price, Marcus Mathers,
Speedball, I got this fire match, can I call it to you?
Yeah, and put together like...
Yo, Speedball, this is fire match.
Put together like...
Yo, check this out, it's fire, let me call it to you.
that put together like scramble matches where they're literally just trying to come up with the coolest stuff that they can to have the most fun and give people the best show possible. And they're so excited about it because they're just huge wrestling nerds. And it is truly like the greatest joy of my life to watch this transpire. Especially, yes, when they come over to like tell me about a spot that they've come up with. But yes, that was extremely Alec Price. The real Barson, no fake Barsons here at the stream. The real Barson is back.
Shout out.
Okay. But yes, you helped put that match together. It was quite an ordeal, but it was really worked out.
It actually wasn't that bad.
It was a long process, but it was a great process.
So Brett sent me the list earlier in the day, and it was all I could think about. Like I
truly was. You were like unable to be
I had a list of people that I was like, okay, this has to happen, and these two people have to, you know what I mean? And it just...
When Mike Bailey is planning a match, out of commission outside of talking about that match.
It's very hard.
In a good way.
It is very hard.
But yes, so Clusterfuck was awesome. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Ryan Beard's got a good one here, and it's highlighted. If we miss your question, just send it back in. And I also have some questions from Mike, who unfortunately could not be in the chat tonight. I got questions for you.
It's late for Europe.
Yes. Question for both y'all. Do you ever get starstruck when you go to conventions or wrestle at specific events?
No, never.
I do not either. And I don't mean that in like I think too highly of I do think highly of myself, but like if you're around pro wrestling long enough or anything long enough where you may have had aspirations that anybody's like better than anybody else, that goes away really quickly. Because in both positive and negative ways. You meet people who are like your absolute heroes and they're fucking assholes. You meet people who are your absolute heroes and they're cool as fuck. Like they're the coolest people.
I had that experience with Matt Hardy.
Yes.
But it's like, so it's weird because Matt Hardy was my favorite wrestler for me as a child for many, many years. And for very good reasons. He was one of the only guys that did the kind of cool shit that I wanted to see when I watched wrestling. He was the guy who did that. Him and his brother. And like... having a brother with whom you wanted to do fun wrestling and do cool shit is something I could...
Yeah.
You're off camera right now, by the way. Yeah, so you gotta squeeze in a little tiny
I'm sorry,
bit.
I just like...
That's okay. But there's not a second where I was like starstruck by Matt Hardy, or I was like, oh my god. Like it took me a while. Once we got way past everything logistical, everything that I had control of when the match was over and I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a lot of respect for him, and like obviously, and when you're like planning the match, you of course listen to his ideas and try to get as much from him as you can. But in terms of like being starstruck, I don't think that's a feeling that I
understand. I think, and that's an experience that I have had as I have worked, in wrestling, in television, in music. Like, it's just when you're around people enough who are supposed to be celebrities or whatever, it's kind of just like, well, they're just sort of people in a good way. And also in pro wrestling's a unique one too, because in pro wrestling we can see people who like we knew as quote unquote nobodies become ridiculously famous in a year or two.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them are just the same goofy people. So it's hard to feel starstruck, I think.
Right.
What do we got here? Love seeing you in the trench coats.
So I had that moment. That was when I edited the thumbnail for my Under Siege vlog. Yeah. Which that thumbnail, can I show that thumbnail? Yeah. I'm so proud of it. I'm not
when you
sure.
took the picture, you sent it right to me. You were like, look at this.
I'm not even sure that it's a good wrestling thumbnail. Sorry, a good YouTube thumbnail, but it's just such a cool graphic that I made, and like the picture is so cool. And when I was editing that, I was like, man, this is actually kind of fucking cool. Us in the coats and the being part of the broken family, broken Hardys.
Well, and Shapernet makes a good point. Outside of a few people, wrestling fame exists on like a sliding scale. Like even the most famous people in pro wrestling, like outside of like the tippy top, The Rock, legends, The Undertaker, etc. Who, when you meet these people, are just people anyway. So, but outside of that, like even the most famous pro wrestlers are still like C-list celebrities.
Yeah. Well, so it's weird because even A-list celebrities, right? So I've been hanging out with Nick Nemeth a decent amount,
Right.
and he's like just a cool
Just a dude.
Rey Mysterio, who is like the most famous person that I've ever met.
Right.
Rey Mysterio is like, I don't know how many millions of followers he has, but he is an A-list celebrity.
In terms of like worldwide, yes.
There are few people in the world that you could show a picture of them and everyone would go, that's Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Just because of the mask, I mean,
Right.
and the whole like symbolism helps a lot, but like wrestling him was just like, oh, he's a cool dude. But also, this is the thing, when you're wrestling people, you're like, it's not like wrestling my buddy. You know what I mean? Where I'll just, we'll just, I'll just say my ideas and it'll be very casual. Yeah. There is a lot of worry about how is this interaction going to go? Are they going to be on their toes? Do they know who I am?
Are they going to be a jerk?
Are they worried about wrestling me?
Yeah.
And so that, like, I have to deal with that and that aspect of the communication. And that usually completely overrides any kind of,
Yeah. Like nervousness over like, how famous they are. All right. I need to pull up some of Mike's questions here.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, do you want to talk about FNS/Fightertainment?
Yes. Well, FNS/Fightertainment ever expand beyond what it is now? And I think somebody asked if it was maybe like a gateway to us putting on quote unquote full shows. That is absolutely something that we would like to do, is put on like, I guess what you'd call closer to like a full wrestling show. But we love the Fightertainment, like the aspects of just how like fan associated it is.
So Friday Night Speedball started during the pandemic, and it was just it's wrestling shows stream on Twitch. At the basis, it is interactive wrestling shows streamed on Twitch, right? And it started with a Zoom call. From your computer, I just called into Zoom, and we did a series of matches just at the wrestling school. And then we started doing them on judo mats at Lethal Comic Studios, Bob Anger's studios. And then we've been doing them at, we had been doing Fightertainment at Tony Deppin's brewery, Pilgaroo Brewing in Pottsville. And it's just, the idea is that, we were talking about this earlier today, but we have so many ideas for things we want to do. Pro wrestling is our lives, and we fucking love it.
We have so many ideas. We talk about them all the time. We got way too many things that we are trying to do and trying to get done, and no time. Well, Hi, My Name is Ruin says, Tournament of Breath, how did that come about? Just an idea, a pun, a funny thing that you said one day, and it turned into a show.
I think I saw it was a meme, maybe? Mm-hmm. It was an inflatable wrestling ring. And I thought, man, how cool would it be to do a wrestling show in a, bouncy house? And that turned into an inflatable...
That turned into Tournament of Breath, which was, you can check it out. Do we have it on YouTube yet?
No, we don't have it on, but I'll put it on before we get to this.
So, well, this is coming out in 2 days. So, Tournament of Breath was a Fightertainment show on mats with inflatables, a deathmatch tournament with inflatables.
Right.
Okay, hold on, we got a highlighted thing here. What are you interested in? Would you like to wrestle in, and what are the countries you'd like to wrestle in?
I mean, I have yet to go to South America, so I'm sure you'll appreciate that answer. But I'd love to go to Brazil.
Yes.
I haven't been to South America at all. I would love for us to go together and spend some time there.
Yeah.
I've wrestled in Japan extensively. We wrestled in most of the European countries that have wrestling in them. Mm-hmm. Never been to South America. There's a lot of great wrestling in South America. If you watch my Twitch channel, you will know.
The hot shit right now, go to Uganda.
Right. That would be fun.
Soft ground.
That would be fun. But again, I couldn't go to America for 5 years, and I'm here now. And
so you're trying to do everything that you can.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Best flavor of Bush's Baked Beans, 10 out of 10 shirt.
I've never had Bush's Baked Beans.
So, yes, you've never had Bush's Baked Beans. You have a Bush's Baked Bean shirt, though, because if you look back in my YouTube channel, I'll put the link in the...
I did go to the Bush's Baked Bean Museum, though.
We went to the Bush's Baked Bean Museum.
Mike.
Which is in Tennessee. So, Mike, go back and watch the vlog of the Bush's Baked Beans Museum. It's a real thing. We went there.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's it. That's all it is. That's it. That's the whole thing.
It's very good. Very good. Highly recommended.
It's pretty good, and that's a great shirt.
They gave us beans. We took them home and
they
just
gave
put
us
the cans
half
in the
a
cupboard.
dozen beans. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
But it's a real place in Tennessee. We have been there. Yep, beans.
Beans.
Beans. Beautiful beans.
Beautiful beans.
What other questions?
Wait, did you get to Mike's questions?
Oh, no. Okay. Hold on. This is Mike, who is not able to be in the chat right now, but we got some questions here. So this is another FES question. Are there plans for FES shows outside of the States and Canada in the future?
So, yes. And again, it's wherever we can do them. And this is the thing. This is my advice. If anyone listening to this wants to run a wrestling show, this is my advice. Run the show that you can run, not the wrestling show that you imagined, right?
Yeah.
People watch WrestleMania and they're like, I want to do that. So they try to put on something like that, even though that doesn't make sense. That isn't what you should be running.
Spending money that they don't have and then having to stress out about that.
Right.
Don't do that. Worry about cultivating an experience.
It's no secret that we get a lot of inspiration from Chocopro. And
Absolutely.
Emi Sakura was talking about this on her Twitter recently. We had a venue, we couldn't fit a ring, we just put mats in, and we did wrestling because we love wrestling. And that's essentially it.
You don't need a ring to do wrestling. You don't need big name stars to do wrestling.
You don't need heels and faces. You don't need theme music. You don't need, 8 matches. You don't need to lead up to a pay-per-view. Just, put on the show that makes sense for you.
Yeah. If anyone has aspirations to putting on wrestling shows, I think the number one thing is worry about cultivating an experience that is fun for people, whether it be people live in person or even if you don't have an audience. We didn't have an audience for a long time because we couldn't. It was about cultivating an experience for people on the stream as well.
Yes.
And I think that's the most important thing. So another reason outside of necessity was that we developed the FES kind of circle of brands or whatever, is because we want to take it everywhere. So Mike, great question.
Sorry, another thing that drives me insane that I have to talk about, and I always want to talk about it, but I do think, people say pro wrestling is art and art is subjective, but I do think there is an objective goal to professional wrestling. Right? You have an audience that your goal is to entertain, and that is usually sort of set. Yes, you're making art, but your art is only meant to reach a certain group of people. You can't please everyone. That absolutely doesn't work. And of course, your enjoyment of professional wrestling is subjective. You can enjoy whatever you want. You can have whatever opinion you want. But if you're gonna if you're gonna do a wrestling show at a brewery, your goal is to this is it at a brewery and on Twitch, right? Your goal should be entertain the people at the brewery that are watching the show and on Twitch that are watching the show, and don't worry about what people who have preconceived notions of what pro wrestling is supposed to be might think about your show, because that's not the point. I know you heard that you're supposed to have, heels and the champ is supposed to not, you know what I mean?
And storylines that
rules, whatever,
that result in unsatisfying matches.
No, fuck that. Do what works for you. Learn what it is. Ugandan orphans turned and made soil wet to wrestle with smartphones. They have reached the world. Yes. They're wrestling for the phones and putting it on YouTube, and they're wrestling for their audience. They figure out their audience, and that's why they're doing so good.
And I have one more question from Mike. Mike had a bunch of questions, but most of them have kind of been covered elsewhere. But the favorite question from Mike, and because I love the phrasing, is after a match, what's your favorite comfy food?
My favorite comfy food after a match?
I love the phrase comfy food, Mike.
I don't know. What do I like to have?
So, and you have favorite comfy foods in general.
It varies regionally.
Right. It's in general versus after a match, sometimes we're limited by time, but in a perfect world, or sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to eat a lot after a match. Big hot dog guy.
Big hot dog. So the most satisfying post-show meal I have ever had is the Turkish pizza from that kebab stand outside of Turbinhalle.
Well, and Michael know exactly what we're talking about.
Right
outside of Turbinhalle, where there's where 16 Karat often is, and
yes.
another WXW shows. There's a a stand that sells Turkish pizzas late into the night.
Amazing, incredible.
Thank you for following Poppy Nubs. Again, I keep slinging on this soda, sucking it back, because I keep forgetting that I'm actually filming an interview and not just doing a stream where we act gross all the time.
Right.
Oh, all right. You have seemed to stop drawing.
I stopped drawing. Yeah. Oh, I gave up on my drawing a long time ago.
So should we reveal? You would watch a Speedball Veda food travel vlog. We would love to film that. We do mini versions of that.
Can I talk about, because I was thinking about this again yesterday, but my ultimate goal for pro wrestling, even though someone's going to steal the idea. But if they do, I think that's fine.
Don't give the idea.
No,
this is too good.
It's too good.
This is something we're going to do. We developed a project starting yesterday, and it's really, really good. But I can't tell you anything else about it. And I don't mean that in like a blah, like it's going to be great. No, we can't say anything else about it because I think it is really good, and we should.
Yeah, too good to say.
Too good to say.
Oh boy, okay.
Too good to say.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll edit that out of the video. Maybe.
Why? No, leave it in.
Leave it in?
We'll talk about it someday.
We'll talk about it someday.
Let us know what you think it is.
Okay, last question. Dave Mascarella, who is a mod, has decided that the last question is, your campaign seems to have the momentum of one right weight train. Why are you so popular? Why are you so popular?
I think I'm really good at wrestling.
That's a big factor.
I think that's it. I don't think there's a secret. I think I have worked really hard for a ton of years to make sure that my matches are regarded as awesome and mind-blowing by everyone who paid to watch them. And one of my favorite things about pro wrestling is that you get instant feedback. You do something good, they let you hear it, right? So all you have to do is kind of gather the data so that you're able to replicate it. And when something works really well, you can do it again. And the more of those you accumulate, the better you get at pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I understood the reference as well.
And you honestly, you spend a lot of time analyzing that.
Right. Also, I grew an S-tier mullet.
An S-tier mullet, yes. And the mullet's been getting extra long. I asked you today, do you need to get a haircut? And you said no, you're letting the back kind of grow out. As long as the sides stay in, I'm going to
probably trim the front is getting tall.
It's a little fluffy.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how I treated it in the picture.
Right.
All right. Okay. Should we do it?
I'm so sorry. Who goes first?
I go first.
Okay.
All right. As we have seen on Drawing Power previously, I am not good at drawing people.
I didn't draw a frog.
It's bad.
Did you draw a frog?
I did draw a frog on mine in the hopes of distracting from how bad the speed was. So.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh, no. I didn't do a frog, though.
So, let's keep in mind,
You look like a frog.
I was trying to look at you while I drew this. It's too bright. Hold on.
Wow. Oh, no. Why am I some kind of werewolf?
I don't know. You have slitted pupils for some reason. And, like, also because...
Cat eyes.
You have cat eyes. Okay, here's part of the problem. It's the lighting is bad. The lighting on the crayons is bad. I tried to draw your eyes the right color. They were kind of like a hazily, but there's a lot of yellow in it for some reason. And then
I thought mine was bad. Yours is worse. What am I wearing?
Well, it was going to be a black shirt, but I ran out of markers, so I grabbed what I thought was a black...
It looks like a tunic.
I thought that it was a black crayon, but it was a blue.
It's so bad. My hair
It does look very close to Cat Eye Mac from Nightman Cometh. The lips are not good.
Cat Eye Mac from Nightmare. Okay.
Then I put a frog on it. I think it looks a little bit like Eddie Munster. Are you familiar? Do you know who Eddie Munster is? Hold on.
No, I don't know. I know. I'm familiar with the Munsters, but I don't.
You don't know Eddie in particular?
Don't know what they look like from memory.
Hold on, I'll show you.
It looks like I have braces. So it looks like I have short hair, but it's like real fluffy. You gotta put it closer to the camera.
Well, I'll put a picture up, but this is mostly for you.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty funny. Was he a werewolf?
He was a werewolf, I think.
Crazy widow speak?
Like the way
I don't have that at all.
Well, I tried to show that your hair comes down a little bit more, but then it went a little nuts. I don't know what's going on here.
The shape of
I don't know why your lips look like a butthole a little bit. I don't know. It's pretty bad.
Okay. Should I show you mine?
Yeah.
It's very frog-like. the jawline, if you can see, is like super thick and round.
What? Okay, it's hard to see with the lighting here, but the jaw goes down here.
You do have a nose.
It's down.
You have a nose. You can see your nose. It's just very light. Hold on. Let me. Give me the orange pen. Let me highlight your nose.
It's kind of a combination. It looks like a couple different characters from Monsters Inc. But are you familiar with the movie?
Here, put this.
Okay.
Look, I redrew the nose.
What is going on here?
Tits.
This is not what. That is not what they look like.
They're up to your neck.
They're not.
It's so crooked.
They are not. The boobs be booping.
It's so bad.
It's not good.
I like your eyes, though. I think I made your eyes very pretty.
The eyes look good. I have very prominent eyeshadow or eyelashes. My glasses are a little purple, which these are not, but okay. Again, why is the cleavage into the neck? It's going up into my neck.
So the problem is, I draw a line, like my brain kind of imagined it was gonna look like it, and my fingers do it, and it's like,
why
oh no.
is my hair two different colors?
And I immediately see this is not it at all, because I couldn't find the orange pen, because I took a crayon.
You put it down, and then you can't find it.
You can't find it anymore. No.
No forehead whatsoever. My hairline is growing out of just like the top of my nose.
I drew the glasses first, and then I started drawing the hair, and. Which is not the way to go about it. I know how you're supposed to draw.
I know what this looks like. And it's bad. Okay, there was a movie called The Mask. Oh no, he has too much of a forehead. The movie The Mask.
Oh no.
Yeah, with
this
Cher.
Is a real person.
Yeah, but Rocky Dennis from The Mask is what I thought it might look like a little bit, with the red hair and like the very prominent face.
I don't know. I think between. Like, look, open your eyes. Just look at the camera. Raise your head a tiny bit. Okay. You could, like, if you see this, there's no question what I'm drawing. Right?
I think if you were like, hey, this is someone in the pro wrestling space.
Okay, how about we try it? How about we make a companion video where I show this drawing to people and I ask, what is this a drawing of?
You show people this.
Yes.
They might say me.
Right. I think they would.
But if anyone else did, they would be like...
No, of course. Well, actually, I don't know. Anyone that has some context will be like, blue eyes, glasses, red hair. That's Veda.
Or Ronald McDonald with glasses. What is going on?
Not dirty Ron McDonald.
Again, I'm just... Hold on. Okay. You told yours. I'll hold mine and we'll... Huh? We have to take a thumbnail anyway. We'll do that later.
You sure? Don't want to do that right now?
I don't think we're going to get the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I can't. I think it's very good, though. All right.
Well.
So what are you going to do with all the drawings?
I don't know. So I have all of them.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition unless Athena is here because she made it a competition. I don't know. Maybe a calendar would be good. I don't know. I have all the drawings except for Mansoor's because he took his and sold it at the merch table, I believe.
What a genius. Okay.
Well,
I think it's cute.
An abomination on both fronts. All right, so that was the first ever live episode of Drawing Power. I actually wouldn't mind doing more of these with people, like live streaming it so I can get questions from the audience. That's not bad.
I think
that's pretty good. Athena does win most things.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Is this the end of the
You
Drawing
gotta sign
Power?
it. You gotta sign it.
Oh, I gotta sign it.
No, that one's mine. I gotta sign my own drawing. You sign the one you made, not the one that is you.
Oh yeah. So again, you know what would be awesome? What I always want to do?
Oh, Nilo. Yes, I gotta get Nilo on Drawing Power.
Nilo, can you draw?
I feel like Nilo might actually be a good artist.
There's no way Nilo doesn't draw super well.
And the thing is, I keep getting screwed. I keep getting real artists on my show. However, yeah, and of course Elo can draw. Well, I'll still have you on Drawing Power anyway. But, yeah. Because, like...
Fucking... The one I'm most mad at is Jake something, who is like, I can't draw. I've never drawn anything in my life. And then his drawing just looked awesome.
He, like, art designed a whole thing.
Right?
Ugh. Ugh. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film any this weekend. I have New Japan this weekend, which sometimes presents difficulties in terms of filming content. But if I am, that will be up in a week or so. But this one is going to go up probably Friday. Oh, yeah. This is the Jake something one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put up a picture of that, too.
Okay. Whoa, Heel Josh with the raid.
Queen of the Ring is like, everyone does a good job with their drawings, including Veda. Thank you. I appreciate that, even if it's not true. It's hot down here.
Is that it?
I think that's it for this episode of Drawing Power. Mike, where can we find you?
At Speedball Bailey on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, twitch.tv/Speedball Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey on YouTube. Watch TNA Impact Thursdays on Access TV. Get the TNA Plus app. Watch TNA's YouTube channel for all my matches. When you put this out, I think my episode, I will have wrestled on television yesterday.
Yes, I believe that your episode, again, you and Trent, Speedball Mountain versus ABC is coming up.
The Ace and Bay connection.
Yes. But, so thank you so much for being part of Drawing Power. We might have to do this again another time when I don't have an interview. I'm sorry. But anytime I need contact, I can always call upon you. Well, that's what I said. So when I first started doing Drawing Power, the first episode I filmed, or second episode I filmed, was Nicole Matthews, who has been forced to be part of many of my projects.
She was your first, maybe only interview on Patreon?
Yeah, Nicole's been there for me many times. But yeah, so thank you. If I wouldn't have married you, she was already married. So, unfortunately, you are my husband now. And fortunately, we have these. We're not going to show them, but we'll show you the tops. There you go. That's just a little preview. All right.
Stop recording.
And let's stop recording. Thank you. I'm Veda Scott. This has been Drawing Power.
Thank you.